Hey guys, Triple V here. Today we're going to be looking at joint operations. This is the third time that this type of event is back, and everyone's pretty excited on playing this again. I think a big part of the excitement comes from how challenging joint operations are, and also the amount of coordination you need with your guild to really make it work. This is of course a sample footage of what joint operations look like. You've got the battle number at the top, so you don't need to keep checking for yourself through the menu button. At the same time, in the bottom left, you have the timer. So every joint ops, you're assigned 5 minutes worth of time to, play your best, get as far as you can. And unfortunately, pausing the game will not work. And if you're in an environment which is not conducive for playing, I suggest you not play joint ops. Conditions like you're hiding in the storeroom, playing the game while your manager is stalking you. Definitely not a good time to play. Other bad times to play are, obviously while driving, don't play. But even if you're on public transport, sometimes it's pretty distracting with the people moving in and out of the train. So find yourself a comfortable place before you start playing this. It is not by any stretch of the imagination easy at all. For seasoned pros out there, I'm sure you'll find this pretty easy, but for quite a lot of people, your average player out there, it's going to be a little bit tough. So in any case, I won't be discussing too much on the types of teams you can use. You can see here fairly clearly I'm using a Gimsa carry team, but there are many different types of teams which can make it in the current joint operations metagame, if you will. Now, the biggest confusion caused this time by the joint operations is not actually the gameplay itself, but more on the prize distribution. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes to try to explain how the prize distribution works. So let's start from the beginning, which is every time you participate, you will get a participation reward. This is as good as thanks for spending your spirit. Here you go, have a prize. So the prizes range between souls, baby harpies, soul stones to oh my god harpies. It is in fact possible to get a harpy as part of your participation reward. So how awesome is that? At the same time, it can make some people feel very salty because, you put in a lot of effort, but the other guy who only did maybe 1% or 2%, he managed to get a harpy. But in any case, Manhead likes to increase the competition, if you will, by showing that somebody got a harpy as part of a participation reward. It's highlighted in red text in battle logs, so if you manage to see it, you can definitely go and disturb your guildmate and be like, oh man, you're so lucky you got a harpy. And I've seen a couple times. I myself haven't got a harpy yet, so hopefully luck will change. But in any case, your participation reward will be given to you at the end of every joint operation you participate in after you've spent a spirit and the battle summary comes out. Okay, second point will be there's 5 total prizes at the end. Now, this is when things start getting very messy and a lot of people don't understand. Unfortunately, on the website itself, I think Madhead gave a few examples, but weren't particularly clear about how it would work out and how it would be distributed. I think only the example 2 comes close to trying to explain what happens with the leftover percentages, but probably they could have given 2 or 3 more examples of that type to clear it up. So I'll try to clear it up in this video. So moving on to the next point, how the total prizes work. Now, imagine someone has a pie. There's only 5 pieces of a pie. And he says, you know what, I'm going to auction this pie off. I'm going to sell each slice at $20. And if you have the $20, I will sell you the slice straight away. As for whoever doesn't have $20, I'm going to give it to the highest bidder. That's essentially, in a nutshell, how joint operations total prizes at the end are distributed. So 20% represents a guaranteed bid. Put it in brackets or does it, we'll cover that later. But in any case, just know that if you get 20%, you're going to get a prize. That's guaranteed, in the bag, nothing to argue about at all. Okay, so if you look at the next thing, the leftovers fight it out for bidding. Now, who forms part of the leftovers? Any percentage you accumulate which does not equal 20%. So anywhere between 1 to 19% is so-called a leftover bid. If you accumulate 20% or more, any percentage above 20% will be part of your leftover bid. So if I score 35%, 20% is my guaranteed bid. Sure, that's taken away. The 15% left over will be my leftover bid. So my leftover bid will be bidding against other leftover bids. And that's how the joint operation rewards are distributed. Based off the remaining leftover bids, it goes by who has the highest bid. Now, all of you don't have 20%. So none of you can, basically none of you are guaranteed a bid. However, whoever's at the top of that leftover bid out will get the prize. And this will go on until the 5 total prizes at the end are given out. So any ties in percentage are decided by joining order, which means if I were to join before the third player scores the same percentage as me. If there's only one prize left at the end, I'm gonna get it instead of the guy who joined after me. This is to make sure it's fair towards people who join chronologically earlier than the other person. Now, if my explanation didn't make sense, let's look at a few examples, which hopefully will be easier for us to clear it up and visualize this process. So let's have a look at the first example. First example, you see here members of my guild and myself are competing for prizes. Now, you see the number of participants is 6, which of course is not ideal. The best is to limit it to 5. But in any case, 6 participants. My guildmate Moonchild here has scored 37%. I've scored myself 30%. And Wayne has scored himself 26%. Now, what happens is, as we mentioned earlier, if 20% gets you a guaranteed prize, that means all 3 of us have one guaranteed prize. So that explains why Moonchild, myself, and Wayne all have one. Now, what happens with the remaining percentages? Moonchild's additional 17% is now a leftover bid. My additional 10% is another leftover bid. And Wayne's 6% is another leftover bid. Now, what then happens is the 17% obviously claims the first leftover prize. Since 3 are gone, there's only 2 prizes left. He gets the first one. And the final prize, leftover one, will go to me because I have 10% compared to Wayne's leftover 6%. Now, if you add up the amount of percentage contributed, it only totals 93%, which means that missing 7% is done by the other participants. So, since 3 names are mentioned here, there's another 3 people who are responsible for 7%. This means on average, each person only has about 2.5%, and they don't qualify for any of the leftover bidding. Well, they do, but they don't have enough to get the bid. As for Wayne's final 6%, there's actually no more prizes by that time, so he doesn't get a second prize because Moonchild got the second prize. He got the first leftover prize, sorry, and I got the last leftover prize. Okay, so on to the next example. You'll see that here we have 5 participants, but only 4 prize winners. So the most obvious thing and simple thing you can do is actually just to add up all the percentages, which you see totals 100%. Which means that our 5th participant here actually contributed 0%, which means he's not eligible for any prizes at all. Now, as to who gets the final leftover bid, you see everyone here's got 20% or more, which means they have their guaranteed bids. The only people who have put in a secondary leftover bid are JJ at 6%, Andrax at 4%, and myself at 10%. Which means fighting over for the last prize with our leftover bids, I'm the one with the most percentage, so I managed to get 2 prizes instead of just 1 only. The last example we're going to look at is this one here. So there's 6 participants. You see only 4 prize winners here, which means 2 participants are responsible for the missing 12%. So if you add up the 35, 24, 15, and 14, you'll get 88, which means the last 2 people who participated in this joint operation and not featured on the prize list are responsible for the final 12%, which means on average they did 6% each, which is why they did not factor into this draw. Could be that one got 12, one got 0, but as you can see here, if we're following our system, guaranteed bids, there's only 2 people, myself and Wukong, both with above 20%. And then we enter the leftover bid phase. So in the bidding phase, I've got 15% left over, Wukong has 4, Morningstar has 15, Wayne has 14. So as you can see, I'll be getting the first leftover bidding prize, Morningstar gets the second one, and Wayne gets the last one. Which means even if the missing participants you don't see here, even if one of them got 0, the other one got 12, he still wouldn't be able to feature here because Wayne already took the last leftover bidding prize. And of course Wukong with his 4% will not be getting any second prize either. Now, having said all this, many of you are probably wondering what is the ideal percentage to be getting. Well, to be honest, there isn't really any ideal. Of course, 20% will guarantee you a bid. But if you really look at it from a mathematical standpoint, 17% is actually what you really need to do. Why 17%? Well, if you get 17%, there's no other way that 5 other people, will be able to get more percentage than you to knock you out of the bid. And the reason for this is simple. If you take 100 and you divide it by 6, the answer is 16.67. If you get 17%, that means that no matter how the other percentages are distributed amongst 5 other people, there's no way that you won't get a bigger piece than at least one of them. So if you're going for 2 prizes, you should cut it off before 36%. What I mean by that is if you don't want to go for 2 prizes, if you want to help the guild and you want to make sure you're not hogging prizes, try to score below 36%. Because if you hit 37%, you're guaranteed to get 2 prizes. And that may not make other people very happy. So try your best. It's a guild event. Help each other out. But as mentioned, 17% is the real cutoff point. If you want a guaranteed, of course it's 20, but as mentioned, mathematically 17 is as good enough. That's pretty much it for me this time. Apologies for the lengthened video. It ended up being a lot longer than I thought it would be, but in any case, I hope it's helpful to all of you, and have fun. That's the main thing. And until next time, may the rune drops be in your favor.